Monday Night Wars podcast.
Hello and welcome. Bro, you take a sip right as we
I'm
start
letting you do your thing.
on the camera?
I'm letting you do your thing.
God, I tell people this is a professional podcast, and you do
No, you
something like
don't.
that.
No, you
Because
don't.
it's not. It is not. Anyways, hello and welcome to another edition of the Monday Night Wars. It is October 20th, 1997, and we are in Biloxi, Mississippi, in the Mississippi Coast Coliseum for another stunning episode of Monday Night Nitro. I am Scott. Again, as I'm about to throw it to you, with me as always is Joseph. Joseph, how are you?
I almost spit out my Propel that I'm drinking. By the way, and I should let you know, you're in for a treat because I have not only one Propel, I have a second Propel has hit the tower.
Is that? First of all, wow. Second of all, is Propel? It's just water, or is it like vitamin infused water? What makes a Propel? I don't think so.
It's just a like water. It's like a flavored water with electrolytes. It was made by Gatorade. Propel.
Okay.
You never had that back in the day?
I subsist on Pepsi alone.
You're like, there's water in Pepsi, so therefore there's water in me.
I think it's the first ingredient.
I would assume
carbonated water. So that's all I need. That's all I need.
My
Anyways, we start off with something that in theory I really kind of like.
Yes.
Except it's gonna not go anywhere. Backstage, the NWO B team and Kurt Hennig apparently have gotten their asses beat by someone mysterious. It's not that mysterious because there's icon shirts all over them. But that's how we start.
There is a series of clues that only Sherlock Holmes himself could deduce who the culprits are. The NWO is beat up backstage. Hogan, Bischoff, and Mach are trying to figure out what happened. Meanwhile, there are black baseball bats on the floor. There's a Roddy Piper icon t-shirt laying around because apparently after beating them down, he took off his shirt and just threw it on the ground. And then DDP decided he needed to spray paint DDP on the ground as well. So taking these clues, they have formulated the opinion, the hypothesis that it may have been Roddy Piper, Diamond Dallas Page, and Sting. And I will say that the Sting one is the loosest of the three because it's just a black bat. There are many of them about. Everyone can have a black bat.
My favorite part about this is that clearly they had nothing that they could think of that like an object that was associated with DDP.
Yes.
Right? Like the other one, Sting's got his black bat. Ryder Piper's got his icon shirt. DDP, I don't know, just have read his name. Just like what?
This is a true story.
Anyway.
This is a true story.
Go ahead.
When I was a kid, a neighbor that lived right next door, one of our next door neighbors, they had this tree that me and one of my best friends growing up, we would go and we would play in this tree all the time. It was like in their front yard. And one day, there were a few different kids on the street. You know, these kids at the very end that I'm pretty sure it was them, but I have no evidence. It honestly could have been my brothers. I have no idea. It wasn't me. That's all I know. Decided to go to this tree, and this tree had really soft bark, so you could peel the bark off very easily, and they decided to carve into it. I don't know this. I'm at home. It's a Sunday, hanging out. All of a sudden, we hear the doorbell ring. My dad is talking to somebody. Don't know what's going on. I'm just watching, and I hear my dad very angrily calls my name. I go over and I go, what's going on? I'm a kid. I'm like 8 or 9. I'm not very old at all. And he's telling me the neighbor is telling me, how could you do this to our tree? And I'm like, what are you talking about? And they're like, you carved all over our tree. And I'm like, no, I didn't. And this neighbor says, bullshit, you didn't. Again, to an 8-year-old, your name is all over it. And I am confused because I have not done this deed. So my dad goes, well, let's go see it then, because my dad has not seen it yet. We go over, we look at it, and my name is all over the tree, has been carved all over the tree, a la DDP. So my dad is like, the evidence is here, you did it. And I said, no, I didn't do it. And now this neighbor is furious because now I'm lying to him in the with this evidence presented here.
Yeah.
And I say, why would I misspell my name every time? And the name was spelled Joesph, which is a very common way to misspell Joseph. A lot of people are stupid and don't know how to spell my name.
Yeah.
And that's how they do it. So whoever did this misspelled my name every time to incriminate me. And my dad took one look at it, looked at me and went, yeah, he didn't do it. And we walked outside. It was the funniest thing ever. My dad knew, like, I'm not stupid as a stupid fucker doesn't know how to spell my own name. There you go.
So did that calm the neighbor down? Did the neighbor go, oh, this is...
He was calm at me, but like, he was still mad about his tree.
I mean, yeah, but that's when, did he also come to the realization that clearly it wasn't you because you would know how to spell your own name?
Yeah. He I think so. He was always a weird guy. Never really liked me, but I really don't know why.
Yeah. Interesting though, that someone's trying to incriminate you. Because but then again, it's also like, why would you write your own name in that tree? Like,
over and over. It wasn't like one.
You're
it was like 40 times.
Yeah, like asking to get in trouble. Like, right? Why would you do that to yourself? It's like, you ding dong ditch, someone's house, you flaming bag of poo, and on the poo you write your address on it, so they, come beat you up or something. Why would you do that? It's just like, why would you do that? Knock someone's mailbox over and leave your business card. I just like, it kind of strains credibility right there that you would do something like that. And thank God they spelled your name wrong, or else you probably wouldn't be alive today to tell us about it.
Absolutely. Yeah. He was looking to kill me.
Speaking of people,
I'm going to kill an 8-year-old.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and speaking of people looking to kill people, the NWO, Hogan, Bischoff, Savage, they're mad. They come storming out to the ring and they want Sting. They want Piper. They want DDP. Don't they, Joseph?
They do. That's pretty much it. They say that they have the evidence and the proof that Roddy Piper is a scum. Again, the evidence and proof that we gave you a few minutes ago. And then they just say that they're all cowards and they want them to come out and nothing ever happens. We go to commercial and we come back and they're not there anymore. So, okay. Again, I kind of like the idea in theory, but it very quickly devolves. I gave this a C.
Yeah, it's purely serves the purpose to hype Halloween Havoc, right? Hogan makes reference to the cage that's hanging above them because apparently they've already set up the cage for Halloween Havoc, and he says, "You know what? Bring it down. Let's just do it right now."
Yeah,
and then they don't. Yeah, that's one of my favorite wrestling things. Let's do it right here tonight. The audience goes wild. It's like, but actually, we'll just do it next week, anyways. Yeah, we'll just do it anyway. We'll do it later, anyways. Don't worry about it. After that, we got our first match. Mm-hmm. We got Eduardo Eddie Guerrero, because he's Eddie now.
Yeah, he's Eddie.
And we got Chris Benoit for the WCW Cruiserweight Championship. Do you consider Chris Benoit a cruiserweight? 7 minutes, 14 seconds.
The answer is no. He's a smaller wrestler for sure because he's shorter in stature. He's kind of exactly the way they depict Wolverine in the comics, which is why he gets called the Rabid Wolverine later on.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a shorter wrestler, but he's not a cruiserweight at all. Anyways, this is a great match. Crowd chants Eddie sucks, and in 8 years, all of them are being like, "Oh, we always loved him."
Yeah.
We find out during this from the commentary that DDP is not the U.S. champion and it is still, in fact, Kurt Hennig, which is stupid. But that doesn't really dampen my spirits on the match. Eddie wins with a frog splash in a surprisingly quick match, and I gave this a B.
Mm-hmm. So there you have it. But we like it all the same because it's got two great guys. After that, we get a flashback to last week when DDP won the U.S. title, didn't win the U.S. title. Yeah, I don't even know what's going on. And that leads us to our next match, which is Wrath versus Bill Goldberg for 20 seconds. Tell me about it, Joseph. I'm going to do it every time.
Goldberg hits the very first spear on Monday Nitro. He does this immediately before Wrath can remove his mask or jacket, and he hits the jackhammer for the win, winning in like 20 seconds, and Wrath is now officially buried. Goldberg, on the way up the ramp, shouts into the camera for the first time, "Who's next?" which obviously is one of his, or not one of, it's his big catchphrase. Mongo comes out, gets face to face with Goldberg before he will then go on to face Mortis, which we'll roll right into. But we'll grade this one first. Objectively, this is a great idea. You have two people who are former football players. You have one who just went out and wrecked one and wrecked a guy. And then he said, "Who's next?" And you have the other football player come out almost as if to say, "I'm next," without saying it. It's great. I love it. It gets an A. There's no way they could ruin this, right, Scott?
Absolutely not. And they also both kind of have a spear, right? Goldberg has his spear, but Mongo has his 3-point stance, right? They're both kind of very similar in that respect. I love this. This seems like a great rivalry to start here. And the logical thing you would do in this situation is to have Steve Mongo McMichael go out, destroy Mortis, because that's who he's wrestling next. We destroyed Wrath. Now we're going to destroy Mortis. 20 seconds. Goldberg's still on the ramp. He beats him so fast that Goldberg's still out there. Goldberg looks back. He sees McMichael looking back at him. We have a great moment where it's like, oh, these dudes are ready to go at it.
Yeah.
Commercial. Oh, I love it. But the match is 4 minutes and 56 seconds, so none of that happens.
This is not at all what happens. Instead, Mongo does bury Mortis, to be clear. It just takes him way longer to do so.
Yes.
And this is a huge, huge misstep. Gene interviews Mongo. He's asking Mongo, like, what happens? Because apparently the rule was that if Mongo beat Jeff Jarrett, then Deborah was out of the WCW. But like, we don't really know what's going on anymore because Jeff Jarrett's not in the WCW anymore. So that doesn't really help. But apparently Deborah has somebody, but we don't know who it is. So I know what you're thinking now, audience member. You're thinking, well, obviously it's Goldberg. That's the person. And you're right. That makes perfect sense. But we don't do things that make sense here in Monday Nitro. So that's kind of the cart before the horse. We'll find out who the person is, but it ain't Bill Goldberg. Anyways, Deborah cuts a promo. It's Deborah promo, so it's not very good. I hate this. I hate this. I gave this a D. Probably should have given it an F, but I hate this because you're absolutely right. Goldberg should have won in 20 seconds. He should have said, "Who's next?" Go up the ramp. Mongo stares him down. Mongo's into the ring, kills Mortis in 20 seconds, then grabs a mic and says, "You want to know who's next? I'm next. I'll see you at Halloween Havoc." Done. That's all that should have happened. But instead, WCW can't write anything, and so they have no idea what's going on. This is horrible.
Yeah. You could even had a segment where like Deborah tries to get in with Goldberg, and then Goldberg just kind of blows her off, doesn't say anything, walks right past her because like that's her shtick, right? She's like she and Mongo are feuding, so she's trying to hook up with whoever can beat him, right? Like,
yeah,
and just finish because I want that storyline to end. So that'd be a great way to end it, where just Goldberg's not that guy, right? He just kind of nope and just keeps going, right? But we don't do that. We have this ridiculous thing where she talks about, with her looks and money, she always gets what she wants, and then Mongo rips up Stevie Richards' sign because Stevie Richards is back, and there it is. And that I guess the reason that we have him rip up Stevie Richards' sign is because that's going to lead us into a Raven promo
Yeah.
where he talks to us from what appears to
Mhm.
be a nice suburban neighborhood about
Yes.
bullies and the
Yes.
playground and
Uh-huh.
all that. What?
Yes, this whole thing is about bullies. That's it. He then quotes Landslide, the song, which is technically by Fleetwood Mac. But I'm assuming, based off the Raven gimmick, he's actually referencing the Smashing Pumpkins version, which came out only a couple years ago. It's a little more topical. It's more in the grunge era, though not really. But also on top of that, it's the better version. Anyways, gang.
I knew it. As soon as Fleetwood Mac was mentioned, I knew you would make a comment, and I was just waiting for it. You didn't disappoint me. I'm outraged, but you did not disappoint me. Joseph is a hater and refuses to admit that Rumors is the greatest album of all time.
Wow.
After
Of
that,
all
we got
time. What a
after that,
bullshit.
we have moved on, sir. After that, we have Lucha Libre, El Mexicano, Luchadores, or whatever. And see, I care about culture and cultural understanding. Anyways, we got another Mike Tenay vignette about Mexican wrestling. I do like these because I think
Yes.
Lucha Libre is a really cool style of wrestling, and I like that they're trying to teach us a little bit about it. What'd you think, Joseph?
Yeah, I mean, these are fun. These are fun. This one really showcases Rey Mysterio. I mentioned last week that was going to be a big topic going forward. Is kind of the Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero thing. They've been teasing us for certain things, starting with Lucha Heritage, going into the importance of the mask, now showcasing Rey Mysterio and really outlining the kind of wrestler he is. Which, to be fair, like for us, we all know, right? But in defense of the audience, if you're a newer audience member, Ray had been injured for quite a few weeks, or for a few months, honestly. So you may not have seen him if you had picked up in the last few weeks to months. So there's some importance to that. It's setting up for their obviously for Halloween Havoc between Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio. That's all this is. I enjoy these. They're fine. They do exactly what they need to do.
After that, we got our next match, and it's Yuji Nagata versus. Hold on a second, because I got to go around the corner for this one, and I'm also not wearing any pants, so I've got to do it without exposing our viewers to everything I got going on, which I could put an eye out with, according to Shawn Michaels. Hold on a second, everybody. We got Yuji Nagata versus Juventud.
I'm gonna laugh so hard when that doesn't pick up.
I mean, we'll keep going. We'll keep going, man. So hold on. Now I gotta look how long this match is. 2 minutes, 23 seconds. Tell me about it.
Oh my God. Raven and his not yet named flock are in the crowd. Nagata wins while Ultimo Dragon chases Ono. Nagata attacks Dragon, and in our go home show, Nagata stands tall. This is fun. It gets a B from me. Interesting that Nagata stands tall in this, but we'll get into that at the Halloween Havoc episode, which you're going to have to subscribe to our Patreon if you want to hear about.
Only $2 a month, I hear. That's an incredible deal.
What a deal.
Wow. Well, and then, yeah, speaking of Raven's flock, we go to Raven's flock. We see that it's growing in numbers, and now it consists of Stevie Richards, as we know, but Perry Saturn, Billy Kidman, and Sick Boy. Raven's flock will eventually comprise like 30 people. It just gets astronomically big, and we'll just let you know as it continues to grow onto absurd levels.
A WCW stable that grows to absurd levels. Don't believe you. Can't happen.
Yeah, never happens. After that, we've got a match. We've got Damien and the Villanos. Oh, wait. No, we don't. Here comes the Giant. Tell me about it, Joseph.
Yeah. The Luchadors come out, and then Giant comes out right after them and calls out Kevin Nash, saying he's hiding behind his injury. Damien gets mad at the Giant, so Giant decimates all of the luchadors. Okay. Whatever. Get to see. Fine. Move on.
Yeah. Our newest addition to the cruiserweight division, the Giant. But yeah, this is trying to, I guess, start a rivalry again with Kevin Nash about who's the big man. And it's like, we already did that, and we didn't do it very well the first time. We don't need to do it again. Yeah. But what we do need to do again is the Nitro Girls. And then we get Rey Mysterio versus Disco Inferno for the WCW World Television Championship. And if you listened to us last week, you know that Disco Inferno has to have the championship because it's on the line against Jacqueline at Halloween Havoc. So Rey ain't gonna win this one. Tell me about it, Joseph.
Disco has his best match ever, and it's all because of Rey Mysterio. Eddie interferes for the DQ. Then Jacqueline goes after Disco, who tries to leave, and he gets jumped. You just get to see whatever.
2 minutes, 17 seconds for that. Yeah, Disco's happy. He held the title, but then he got to run away because Jacqueline. After that, we've got our number 2. And it's so nice. They're going to say it twice. Bischoff, Hogan, and Savage return. They are still mad about NWO B team getting destroyed, and they want to fight. But again, nothing happens.
Yes.
Anything more to add?
I have 3 lines here. Bischoff says no one leaves the building until they get DDP, Piper, and Sting. This lasts forever and goes nowhere, like you mentioned. My last line here is the NWO has become the kings of dead air time. That's what they are. When they are on the screen, you could go to the restroom, come back, and nothing has changed. This gets a complete F. This gets an F not even because I'm offended, but because it's absolutely useless. Like, this genuinely doesn't need to happen.
Well, and then we get another issue because our next match is Dean Malenko versus Kurt Hennig. Kurt Hennig, who was attacked just an hour prior to this, just seriously injured. Oh, never mind. WCW United States Heavyweight Championship on the line, 9 minutes, 48 seconds.
He saunters out. He comes out with a swagger. Like, he is ready to go. And then commentary is like, oh, look how hurt he is. Fucking where? He is peachy. He's keen.
Yeah.
He's doing quite well. Hennig, my first line here is Hennig seems fine after the earlier attack. Cool. Malenko gets the cloverleaf, but Hennig grabs the ropes. Hennig then wins with the Hennigplex. Again, just completely not hurt. What is going on? I gave this a D.
Yeah. The only thing that could redeem this is Nitro Girls! And then we get Scott Norton and Ray Traylor. Again? Did they realize that they did that badly the first time, so they're going to fix it and have Ray Traylor go out on top to keep an possibly interesting storyline going? 3 minutes, 12 seconds. Tell me, Joseph.
Vincent spray paints Traylor in the eyes and he loses. Then he attacks both men until somehow the not hurt NWO come out and attack him. So all those people that were hurt at the beginning of the show are now fine. This gets an F.
And again, it's like Ray actually gets some. I feel like, he gets cheated and they all come out and he's really working here. Like, he's like fighting all of them. And I'm like, oh, maybe this is the moment. Or maybe DDP and Roddy Piper are going to come out and help him. And he's like going to join their group. And no, he just gets stomped into the ground again. Why? It's the same match as last week. Why?
Yeah, there's so many ways you could have done this too, right? Like, you could have, like, let's start with the earlier match with Hennig and Malenko. It actually would have been really creative if, Hennig scheduled this match Piper says the match has to go down. You're scheduled for the match. Hennig comes out all hurt. Looks like obviously Dean Malenko should win this match. So Hennig just kicks him in the dick. I'm DQing myself.
Something.
I've lost, but I don't lose the title. I cannot compete. I know I can't compete. So there you go. Then this one really is offensive because there is no reason, and we love Scott Norton. Scott Norton is one of our guys in WCW.
Yeah.
There is
He's fun.
no reason he needs to win this match. It's inexplicable. So just have Ray Trader win this one. Scott Norton, sorry, you were scheduled to go out. Don't you try doing that thing that Kurt Hennig just did. If you try to disqualify yourself, I will force the match to restart. So he goes out, tries to have a real match, and Traylor just beats him because he already got beat up earlier. Like, why? What is the need for NWO to always be okay?
Yeah, I mean, with Henning, you could have had a segment backstage, and he's like, and they're like, you're going out, it doesn't matter, you got arrested, you're contractually obligated. He rolls into the ring, bell rings, he rolls out, he grabs his title, and he just walks away and gets counted out. Yeah, sure, he lost, but the title doesn't change, so who cares, right? There are so many options to just to sell in the story that they really got, one over on them that they just don't do. I don't know, man. Anyways, we got Lex Luger and Booker T with Jacqueline because they have paired Jacqueline with Harlem Heat for some reason.
Yeah, couldn't tell you why.
I have no idea why. For 6 minutes and 30 seconds.
Booker misses the Harlem Hangover, and Luger locks in the rack for the win. Booker loses, but he does get an impressive showing, and Mean Gene interviews Luger, who says the tide has turned on the NWO and Scott Hall when. Zbyszko comes down. He emphasizes that he will call the match right down the middle, and we kind of end. I do think the match itself was actually quite good. Like Booker gets a good showing, so I'm giving this a B. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, after that, Mean Gene wants to talk with Lex. And, I got to give Lex credit. He puts Booker over. He says some nice things about Booker, that he's looking good. And he thinks everything is in NWO's favor, or in WCW's favor, again, as you said. And it's like, but why? Why is it? I don't understand. Well, maybe we'll get some clarity in our main event, which is Scott Hall versus Scott Steiner. This is the main event. This is clearly where WCW is finally going to get their one over on NWO, the go-home show for Halloween Havoc. This is it. It's 10 minutes, 36 seconds. Tell me how Scott Steiner gets a win against Scott Hall, and WCW is riding high.
Scott Hall takes his survey to start the show. Are you here to see the WCW or are you here to see the NWO? Survey says another one for the good guys. Anyways, he calls Giant and Luger goofs, which made me laugh. Hall eventually hits a chokeslam and makes fun of the Giant after doing so, which also objectively funny. Scott Steiner eventually has the win, but there's no ref. Scott Hall hits the outsider's edge, and the masked ref, and a masked ref rather, goes in, who's absolutely not Vincent, and he counts to 3. This gets a C. I didn't hate it, to be clear. I really like what Scott Hall did in a lot of it, but still dumb.
Yeah, and again, the masked ref thing is so dumb.
Yes.
It's just so dumb. Like, I could see something here where it's like, Larry Zbyszko's a licensed ref, and so that's why that stood or whatever. Vincent comes out, he does it. They go out, hey, you're not a ref, and he pulls out his card. Like, he's like a card carrying member. Like when I was the officiant at a wedding, right? And you have to get licensed to do that, to officiate a wedding. And I found out that, and a lot of people I know do it through like these kind of fake religious groups on the internet. You give them like $50 and they give you a license. That all kind of made me uncomfortable. I found out you could just do it with the state of California. So I ended the state and the county. So I just did it through the county. But a lot of people just do that online, right? You spend $50, you take a quiz, and you get it, right? Why couldn't he have gone to something ridiculous like that and gotten some kind of license? to ref, and it's like, oh, you can get a license, I can too. That could have been an angle about like they've got a ref, we've got a ref. I don't know. They could have had 2 refs for the special guest referee match, which could have produced some interesting results. But no, it's just stupid. It's just stupid. And then we close it out because again, Hogan and Savage and Bischoff have to tell you how mad they are about what happened to the B team, except it seems okay. Everybody's fine. And Devil's Island gonna be on TNT because it's such a bad movie that it's going to air on TNT on October 28th. And I'm gonna give you all a real treat. I promised the audience of this pod that if one of these movies was ever available on a streaming service that I owned, I'm not buying one of these crap movies, I'm not renting one of these crap movies, but if it existed on a streaming service that I owned, I would watch it and report back. And I have to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that Assault on Devil's Island, unfortunately, is available for free on the Roku channel. So I have watched it, I have digested it, and I will give you my review when the time comes. So keep listening because that's what y'all want to hear.
Absolutely.
What'd you make of all this, Joseph?
Look, they say nothing. They don't do anything different. Then Sting arrives, and it's a masked Sting. Then 2 more Stings arrive, and they attack Hogan and Mach. These 2 Stings actually turn out to be DDP and Piper. The NWO attack as the cage lowers around all of them. Then Sting, the real Sting, drops down from the ceiling. It just ends in a mess as the show closes. I gave this a D. It's just so... like, everything is just throw it at the wall. Not even to see if it sticks, just throw it at the wall.
I think the worst thing about these is that I feel like the pieces are there.
Yes.
I think that's the most frustrating thing because there are parts of this that I like. I like, because we've been doing all the fake Stings, so that's part of the story. And now it turns out it's actually DDP and Piper, and the cage comes down, so they're stuck with them all. Like that could be a thing. That could be an interesting way to end it, where like they're trapped in there with these guys, and oh god, but they do it just in such a ham-fisted, poorly thought out way. I don't like it.
Yeah.
So let's go over to Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, for the Myriad Convention Center, where WWF is live on October 20th, 1997. They're live, right? I think they're live.
Yes, they are live this week. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's do it. Let's get raw, Joseph, because as you know, I like it raw. And you spit on yourself, and that was worth it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I spilled some water on myself.
So I think we kind of just get into this one, don't we, with our first match?
Yeah, it goes right into the match. Yeah.
So Nation of Domination, Kama Mustafa and Rocky Maivia versus Ahmed Johnson and Ken Shamrock. And we've also got some people in their corners, right? In Nation's corner, we got D'Lo and Farouk. And for some reason, in Ahmed and Shamrock's corner, we got the Road Warrior, Animal, and Hawk. Why? Because they're all going to fight each other at Survivor Series.
Well, I mean, they did start this the last couple weeks. They've been kind of having each other's backs. Like, look, this is the only one that actually makes sense.
It's dumb though.
Okay.
I don't like it.
Okay. Anyways, we start with an all-out brawl between all 8 men before we calm down to the scheduled tag team match. DX then watches from the stage, and they're sitting in chairs with signs. One reads, "I'd rather be in China," meaning China, the wrestler. There are some racist signs too, like Uncle Tom 316, which I think is a dig at Ahmed, and a sign that reads "Black is beautiful." I get what they're trying to do, but these are very cringy in retrospect.
Yeah.
China has a sign that says, "Hey, Vince," good.
I will say Farouk has called Ahmed and Uncle Tom several times, but Farouk also black. So I feel like
Yes.
we allowed that a little bit more.
I don't mind the Uncle Tom one as much because there's actual storyline connection. The Black is Beautiful one, I'm like, that was a misstep. Anyways, China has a sign that says, "Hey Vince, nice shoulder pads," which made me laugh. Ahmed steals the Michinoku driver. He just steals it, just straight up takes it. And by the way, Taka Michinoku, I'm pretty sure is on tonight and will do the Michinoku driver. So good job, Ahmed. That's a horrible thing you don't do in wrestling, but he does it. Anyways, Rick Rude walks down to the ring, but we don't really know why initially. Farouk manages to blindside Shamrock with Rick Rude's Halliburton, and Rocky picks up the win. Rude then goes back to DX. Ahmed runs and attacks the Nation, who jump him and leave. The Godwins attack LOD with trash cans. Man, this is overbooked to hell. It's not horrible, but it's like there's way too much going on. And I have a theory for that, but we'll get into some other stuff and then I'll kind of talk about it. I gave this a B, but it could easily have been a C or a D.
So there you go. There you go. After that, we got Michael Cole with the Nation, and their locker room has been vandalized.
Yes.
Because as you know, you and I just watched Survivor Series. And at Survivor Series, they talk about Ken they do a promo where Ken Shamrock and who else says it? It's someone else in his faction talk about how there's a criminal element in the WWF, which is the Nation. And I was like, that seems a little racist because I don't recall them ever showing that Nation is criminal in anything they do. I mean, they're like a black power movement, but there's nothing criminal about their behavior. And you said rightfully, well, we haven't watched all of this, the lead up to this yet. Maybe there's something. Maybe they give us something. And so far, I'm seeing the Nation as victims of crime.
Yes.
They are crime victims here. And in fact, the criminal element may be our friends from up north, the Canadians, because the locker room is full of Canadian flags.
Yes.
Canada Rules is spray painted on the wall.
What
is going on?
In a similar to WCW situation, a series of clues have been left that only Sherlock Holmes himself could deduce. We have a Canadian flag implying the hearts. Like you said, there's spray painted Canada Rules. Farouk, he's supposed to be Nation getting interviewed by Michael Cole, like you mentioned. Real quickly, before this happens, Vince lets us know that a former WCW champion will be in the ring tonight. Ross tells us also that The Undertaker will finally address Bad Blood, so we have those things to look forward to. But back to this. So he's supposed to interview the Nation. Instead, they see this locker room. They're furious. They storm the ring. Farouk comes down and he screams at Vince, asking if he's a racist. Farouk calls out the Harts, who don't answer. This results in Bret Hart versus Farouk, because apparently that's a match out of the blue. DX comes down and HBK accuses Bret of being a racist. The Harts then chase off DX, then fight the Nation. Austin runs in, stuns Farouk, who's been mad at him lately. Then he leaves. Bret doesn't know why Farouk is down and pins him for the win. Which leads me to what I mentioned earlier, that I have a theory that this is Russo booking. Because in both the first two segments, we have gone all the fuck over the place, and it has made almost no goddamn sense. You can kind of see the through lines in these, which again is the flaw in Russo, that there was a filter that was able to tell Russo, no, or you could do that, but this. He doesn't have a filter when he leaves and goes to some competing company, but we'll get there. This is it again. It's not horrible, but it is so close to being dog shit because it is so much going on all at one time. And this is like, man, I gave it a B, but it could so easily be one of the worst things you'd see on TV. There is too too many storylines intertwining, and they're not intertwining seamlessly. They are clearly just getting crammed into a can, and it is not great.
I also love, as you noted, which I have in my notes, but I completely forgot to mention this former WCW champion is going to be in the ring tonight. And we just had a Farouk match.
Mm-hmm.
Who was the first Black World Champion, Ron Simmons. And but that's not who we're talking about, because we just ignore that fact, apparently.
Yeah.
We're talking about what happens next, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we got Jeff Jarrett is here. Oh my God, I'm so excited. Joseph, tell me about Jeff Jarrett being here.
Jeff Jarrett arrives post WCW and he has something to say. He calls out Bischoff for trying to bury him and calls him a coward, which is really a recurring theme of people who had to deal with Eric Bischoff. Again, net positive, but I get it. He says Bischoff put a lid on his potential, which is objectively true. He calls out both Mongo for his ability and calls Deborah the definition of a dumb blonde. He tells Vince he left WWF 2 years ago for the same reasons he left WCW, which is being held back and everything. He asks Vince what are his excuses, because Bischoff is at least ignorant, doesn't know the wrestling industry. Vince does. So what's his excuse for his actions? Which also is kind of a really good line. Like, it kind of makes a lot of sense. He tells Vince that his vision sucked. Kayfabe is dead by this point. We just don't give a shit about that. Yep. He says Vince needs Jeff Jarrett. Jeff Jarrett doesn't need Vince. He then says that Brett was the best, but isn't any longer. He tells HBK that he can only wrestle once a week. He says Austin will always be the ringmaster. Nah, bro, that was reaching. This is fine, but it lasts way too long. Like clearly they told him, go air your grievances. And he took that to heart. And like the first half of this is really good. And then it just goes on way too long. And they needed someone to be like, wrap it up, bro, wrap it up, because it just lasts way too long. I gave this a C because to me, it's just right down the middle, really good potential. It just doesn't quite get there.
I'm also interested in what they told him the vision was, because he takes stabs at Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, Stone Cold.
I think he's referring to the Double J Jeff Jarrett vision of yesteryear.
Yeah, because he ain't gonna go against any of those guys. At least in the current iteration of Jeff Jarrett. Jeff Jarrett has a great.
That's not true. Not true. Steve Austin, he's supposed to go against, and Steve Austin says, "No, I'm good, dog."
So there you go. Yeah, Jeff Jarrett eventually has a pretty successful career in WWF. But it's not yet. Yeah. I mean, you're not a big fan of Double J Jeff Jarrett. I like him. I enjoyed him after when he got the guitar and kind of the glasses and the short hair. I like that.
My thing with Jeff Jarrett is that Jeff Jarrett, everything that people accuse many wrestlers of, that we could mention, your Kevin Nashes, your Hulk Hogan's, your Triple H's, whoever you want to say, burying potential. Jeff Jarrett egregiously did that too. He just did it in TNA. So there's a lot of meat on the bone of Jeff Jarrett's value versus talent, and we won't get into that on today's episode. Overall, I don't hate Jeff Jarrett, but there's some flaws.
We'll get to all that when we do our TNA podcast, which will happen never. Mark Marrow versus Brian Christopher, 4 minutes, 11 seconds. Mark Marrow's back, baby.
Yes, he is. Cameramen during this intro of Mark Marrow's only pay attention to Sable. Jerry brings an Austin ball cap to Sable to have her model it mid-match. What? Jerry also interferes, but Marrow low blows Brian Christopher, then hits the TKO for the win. It's a C. It's whatever.
Mark Marrow's a bad guy now. He's got an attitude. Wow. Yeah, I like Mark Marrow, but they just never
They
do
don't know
him
what to do
right.
with them. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. After that, we got our number 2. And we start with an exciting one. We got Owen Hart versus Shawn Michaels for the WWF Intercontinental Championship and the WWF European Championship. 9 minutes, 35 seconds. What's going to happen?
Going into this, we did get an Owen Hart vignette depicting him as the true hitman of the Hearts. They're basically trying to express the fact that he has kayfabe and non-kayfabe injured multiple wrestlers. The Shawn Michaels injury was kayfabe. The Austin one is obviously not. That actually happened. He did injure him. Owen grabs a mic to start this and says that he can injure Shawn again, and he will. He wants a one-on-one match, though, against Shawn. No DX and no Hearts. Rick Rude comes out with China and Triple H. All he does is introduce HBK. HBK is in his iconic over one shoulder entrance gear, and it is gorgeous. As you can imagine, this is a great matchup. We do get a one-on-one. We see Shawn hit his diving elbow, but Owen dodges the sweet chin music, hitting his own enziguri. Then Austin runs in. He hits the ref with a stunner. Shawn hits a sweet chin music on Owen. He goes for the pin, but there's no ref. Brett runs out and attacks HBK. DX rescues Shawn. The match gets thrown out. This is actually a really clever way to book around this because this is technically a title for title match. Obviously, you don't want these titles to move hands. I like this. It makes a lot of sense. If this is Vince Russo booking, great job, Vince Russo. I don't know who booked this, but this one gets an A.
Yeah. Not bad. Speaking of not bad, we got Undertaker, and he's finally ready to talk about Kane. And he says, Paul Bear is putting him through hell, but he'll never fight his own flesh and blood. So there you have it. They're never going to fight. That's the end of that.
Yep. Taker says he carried the grief of his lost family for years, but when he looked in Kane's eyes, he saw no love, but hatred. He says his mind has been poisoned by Paul Bear. And then, like you said, he said he will never fight his brother. This gets a B from me. It's also going to play into a really good thing that happens later on in the night, but we'll get there.
Yeah. Huh? After that, we got a match. We got Davey Boy Smith versus Dude Love. Dude Love. Dude Love. Which he doesn't have that music because Vince doesn't buy licensed music. Vince don't do that. Tell me about this one.
You know, that's one of the reasons why CM Punk has cult of personality, because he just wanted to piss Vince off and ask for it when he did his contract, when he was like getting ready to leave. And he was like, there's no way they're going to say no. And then that's it. And I'm done. And then they did it. And they got him the licensed music. And he was like, fuck, okay. Instead of Bulldog coming out, because Dude Love comes out first, instead of Bulldog coming out, Kane does. He attacks Dude Love, who isn't afraid of him, and takes it to Kane. He nails Kane with a chair shot to the head, and Kane barely flinches. Kane then chokeslams Dude Love on the ramp multiple times. The presentation of Kane has been great thus far. Dude Love is seemingly just completely destroyed. This gets an A+ for me. I love what they're doing with Kane. It is fantastic. And also, I love that Dude Love, of all people, is like, I'm not afraid of you. Like, we'll fight. That's also fantastic, given what we know about Mick Foley.
And it leads to a fun storyline, right? Because Dude Love, just full of confidence, says, you don't scare me. I'm going to take you on. And then gets destroyed. We'll see where that goes. We'll see where that goes. We'll see if that jostled something loose in the faces of Foley. But until then, Survivor Series commercial. So that's going to be exciting, right?
Yeah, should be.
And then we get a, I guess it's not really a debut because we already talked about it last week, but this is the in-ring debut.
Right.
So I'm still going to count it as a debut. It's the new Age Outlaws. Oh, you didn't know?
Da-na-na-na.
Well, your ass better call somebody. 4 minutes, 4 seconds versus the Headbangers. We
Yes.
love to see it. Tell me, Joseph.
So the New Age Outlaws do not have a name just yet. That is intentional, and they will get a name soon. Obviously, we know what it is. But when they come out, Road Dogg, they have no entrance music. They just come out, and Road Dogg does all his own announcing out the gate, calling Billy Gunn badass Billy Gunn for the first time and calling himself Road Dogg. He's already great. He's already figured out that this is the way to get them over, and it is fantastic. Billy Gunn eventually nails the boombox over Thrasher's head. It explodes everywhere, and Road Dogg picks up the win. I love this. I gave this an A. This team already is fantastic and fire. They're so good.
Yeah, the boombox explodes.
Mhm.
Thrasher is bleeding. Ref didn't see a thing. The winners are
Counted like
Road
this.
Dogg, Road Dogg, Jesse James, and the badass Billy Gunn. After that, we get a clip of Bret Hart, who's going to be on Mad TV, Joseph. When you think of great comedy guys, you think of Bret Hart, don't you?
Well, he always makes me laugh.
Bret's going to sue us. I gotta go. I feel like I gotta go back and see Bret Hart on Mad TV because I imagine it's terrible. That dude does not look like the kind of guy. Yeah, that guy Bret Hart, Bret Hart, one of the greatest to ever do it in the ring, a technical genius, doesn't seem like a guy that knows how to take a joke. So I'm interested to see how he fared on Mad TV. But until then, we got a match. We got Taka Michinoku versus Yoshishiro Tajiri. And if I don't get a Michinoku driver, I riot. So tell me, Joseph, 2 minutes, 55 seconds. Do I get a Michinoku driver?
You do. You actually already got one because Ahmed Johnson stole it earlier, remember?
Yeah.
This is the best match on the night. I mean, for both shows. And honestly, it's the only light heavyweight match that we've seen so far that is on par with the WCW cruiserweights. This is a fantastic contest that sees Taka win with the Michinoku driver. These two men have great chemistry. Obviously, they've wrestled each other many times. They're great. They are fantastic. Both of these guys are what they probably should be doing is going, well, if we can't really have the lucha market, maybe we can tap into the Japanese market and make that our light heavyweight.
Yeah.
But they don't really do that. They kind of do, but kind of not. Anyways, I gave this an A. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, WCW does, tap into the Japanese market too. But I feel like they're kind of more relying on like the famous, like the well-known kind of Chono and all those guys, like just like the Mount Rushmore of New Japan Pro Wrestling and all those guys.
I think there's
And
a lot of meat on the bone. Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like, and that's not to discount Tajiri or Taka Michinoku, but I feel like the WWF is looking for younger guys from New Japan, which I think is interesting, But I feel like Chono's older at this point, and some of the other guys at WCW are kind of older. Like they're top of the card guys, but they're certainly older. I don't know. I'm just rambling. Let's talk about our next part, where Jim Cornette rambles about Phil Mushnick again. Do you have anything to add to this, or should we just move on?
He again talks about him. This time he does use actual quotes from fans directed at Mushnick. Look, whatever grade I gave it last week, I'm giving it the same grade this week. It's just, this is not necessary. It's kind of a waste of my time. I like listening to Jim Cornette rant sometimes. This ain't it.
Yeah, Mushnick must have written this for TV Guide. I looked it up, and he was a writer for the New York Post and TV Guide. Because TV Guide used to be a big deal. For you youngins listening, TV Guide used to be like a legit like magazine. It had all the TV schedules in it, but it also had stories, and it was serious. My grandma had it. It was like a friggin' book that you'd get a month, and it had like everything in it. It was a big deal.
People would collect them.
Yeah. Because they'd have interviews. People. It was such a big deal. Like you debut shows on TV Guide. Like you do all kinds of things. Like you get the first look at at the next Star Trek season or something. Like there'd be big things in the TV Guide. They broke news in the the media landscape. So he's reading messages off the TV Guide message board is what he's reading. I was just like, what is going on here? It's nuts. After that, though, we get a flashback to last week on Raw, where the Legion of Doom had their legacy match, defeated the Godwins to stay in the WWF. If they had lost, they would have had to have quit the WWF, but they didn't. They won. And the Godwins took it on Uncle Cletus, who has been their manager for about 5 minutes. And here we are with the main event.
Mm-hmm.
The Godwins.
Yes.
Versus DOA.
Yeah.
What? This clearly just has to be a vehicle for Legion of Doom or something, right, Joseph? Tell me.
So this starts as a 4-on-2 brawl. DOA just starts beating up the Godwins. Then the Truth Commission, for some reason, come out and help the Godwins. Then Sergeant Slaughter tries to restore order to no avail. This gets a D from me. It goes nowhere. This is setting up a Survivor Series tag team match. It's not good because on one side you have DOA and the other side you have the Truth Commission. So it's about as good as you can expect it to be. Yeah, didn't like it.
We are desperately trying to figure out ways to make Survivor Series work.
Yes.
Like Joseph, this is kind of like World War III. Is it World War III?
War games. Yeah.
War games. Where you're like, bro, no, it's good. It's good. And then every War games we've watched has been trash.
Yes.
Joseph feels the same way about Survivor Series. Really likes the concept. He's really enjoyed Survivor Series. He's like, no, bro, it's good. Trust me. Every single one we've watched is bad. This one is kind of largely no exception, except for one of the most famous incidents in wrestling occurs at the Survivor Series. But most of the matches are just nonsensical. And this is another one where they're clearly like, let's just put friggin' people together, whatever.
Yeah, no rhyme and like there's one Survivor Series match. I think it's the one with LOD, Ahmed Johnson, and Ken Shamrock on one side, and the other side you have the Nation, right? That's the only one that actually makes sense, because the idea is you have these multiple storylines that all kind of involve the Nation, and so you have this elimination match. I like those types of Survivor Series tag team matches where it's like we had all these storylines going, and we just said, okay, on one side is these people on this side of the storylines, and these people on this side of the storylines, and you can see how every single one of those lines up. Those ones are fun. That's the only one they have on 97 Survivor Series. The rest are all just thrown together matches, and in 95 and 96, all of them were thrown together matches. So it's like, Jesus Christ, like they're making me look stupid because they're just throwing these together. And I'm swearing to Scott every time. No, I swear.
Trust me, bro. Good. Trust me. It's going to get better. Trust me, bro. Trust me. And I'm just kind of, I don't know. But yeah, again, and then this is like, I guess this isn't the go home show, right? We've got another
there's like
episode
2 more weeks.
Yeah. This isn't the go home show. So at least we're not throwing this rivalry together like the night before, but it does feel just kind of hastily put together like, oh, shit, we need a card.
Yeah.
Just But that's not how we end it. We actually we ended on a high note, I would say, because Vince tells us that we're going over to the boiler room.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we see
Joseph?
We see Mankind in the boiler room, not Dude Love. And he calls himself the master of malice and madness. He says if Taker has qualms with facing Kane, then he'll do it. He challenges Kane as we close the show. Really weird end to this show overall, but this I really enjoyed. This is fantastic, and I'm giving this an A. The show itself, though, is overbooked, and it wasn't the best Raw that we've seen because of it. Like there are some serious flaws in this Raw. I still think it's better, but there are some serious flaws in this Raw.
I loved this story angle. Mick Foley's story angles are just a little bit above. Like,
yes,
I love this where he was Dude Love, full of confidence, full of swagger. And then Kane cleaned his clock.
Mhm.
He lost it. He just and he went back to his, he went back to his Mankind character because he's used to being punished and all that. I just love,
Mhm.
multiple personality disorder isn't something that you should make light of, right? Real people suffer from it. It's a very serious thing, but they do it so well.
Well, they don't do anything. Mick Foley does it
Yes.
so well.
Yeah.
Because if
I
this
would
was
actually
a
kind of be,
pure Vince vehicle, it would be trash.
it's true. I actually would kind of be interested in talking to like a psychologist or something about Mick Foley's portrayal of someone with multiple personality disorder. Because it feels real to me, right? Like, because
Right.
a lot of multiple personality disorder is that those people have suffered some kind of trauma, and they've created these alternate versions of themselves to help them, like, not process the trauma, because that's kind of the problem. They're not processing the trauma, but like ignore it, right? Like, I need this person, I need my big strong personality to protect me from this thing, and that's what he's doing right here, right? Like, he had his comments, he has swagger that was taken away from him. So he's fallen back in the Mankind because Mankind knows humiliation. He knows punishment. That's what's protecting, it's protecting him. I don't know. I think it's really good. I like it. But did I like it enough to give it to Raw this week, Joseph? It sounds like you did.
Yeah, I mean, look, Raw is severely flawed this week. There are a lot of like holes you can poke in this Raw. I'm going on momentum more than anything because like there's a lot in WCW that I'm just so over that I like.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
can't see them as a good product right now, and so that's just kind of where I'm at.
Not even Bill Goldberg's streak.
Well, they aren't really calling it a streak yet. Also,
And for the
it pissed
record,
me
everybody,
off
I'm
when
making
people
fun of
did.
Bret Hart.
Yes,
Because that's how he says Bill Goldberg. Yeah, I have to give it to Raw too. After giving you crap, I got to give it to Raw too, because the storyline was not good on Nitro. Right? Again, we had a storyline that I was kind of into. Oh, the NWO has suffered a defeat, and then by the end of the night, we've completely done a 180 and completely ignored that. And while Raw was kind of a mess, we had some fun angles, some fun storylines. We have DX who are interesting. We've got the New Age Outlaws. They're not called that, but we've got them. We have this, the Mankind is back. I thought we had some interesting story angles there that we just did not have in WCW. And as you know, I'm a story guy. Story is what keeps me
yeah,
coming back. So I would come back to Raw because I'm more interested in where these stories go than what's happening over on WCW.
right.
But yeah, let us know what you think. Maybe you disagree with us. Like, comment, subscribe, send us messages telling us we suck or that we're great. And if you tell us we suck, don't tell me because I'll cry. But you can tell Joseph. If you don't like Joseph, let him know. But if you don't like
Yeah,
me, don't send anything.
yeah. There you
Yeah.
go. Absolutely.
Anyways, thank you all for listening. Thank you all for watching. See you next time.
Bye, guys.